Okay, this is Trudy, and it's October 2nd, 2009. And Mama, Gert, Deegan, Grandma, Mama, is going to tell us some different things about her life. So, Mama, how old are you?
I am 95
And when were you born?
and walking still.
And when were you born?
I was born August the 6th, 1914.
Wow. That makes you 95, all right. And so, what about, you were just telling me about your grandma and different things. There's so many things I want to ask you about your life, like when you were a child, when...
I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Yeah, well, can you just start somewhere or anywhere?
Well, I was, my most recalls, memories, goes only back to when I was about, I was about 10 years old.
About 10, yeah.
Yeah, that's when we came to live with my grandmother on Pine Street in Cambridge.
Oh. So how many brothers and sisters do you have?
My brothers were right down to Buster. And that's 5 boys. That's Jamesy, Fran, Georgie, Harry, and Russell.
Who is Buster?
And Gertrude. And Margie.
Right.
We were only 2 girls, all them boys.
And were you the oldest?
I was the older girl.
And Margie was the baby?
Yeah, Margie.
So there were quite a few years
little sister.
In between you
But
guys.
we had a little sister that died.
Right.
Mary. She died with an accident when it was Halloween.
Yeah.
And the 2 little girls came from across the street with some matches we found out later. Mary could never get a match. We had it high up behind the stove.
Right. How old was she?
Mary was only 4.
Wow.
And the 2 sisters came over. And we didn't know, we were all in the yard. And I was in the house. And Mike, my first husband.
My father.
Your father. He was sitting in the living room downstairs waiting for me. We were going out.
How old were you about?
I was about 19.
Okay.
Or maybe 18. I might have got married shortly after that.
Okay.
But anyway, we heard a little commotion downstairs. I saw a man. I was looking out my bedroom window from the 2nd floor, and I looked out. I saw this man running and hollering, crossing his yard. And he was crossing the yard, and I yelled down to Mike. I said, "Mike, go out and see what's happening." I said, "There's a man running into our backyard."
Right.
And he must have went out.
Yeah.
And he's the one who really picked Mary up and took his coat off and wrapped it around.
Gosh.
And
wow. Wow. That's pretty. That's really.
But Trudy, I can't even think about it. We stayed up the hospital 4 days. She lived, Mama and I.
Wow.
And I left, came home the last day. I wouldn't see her anymore.
Oh my God.
And then she died that night, I guess.
She never regained consciousness?
No, not conscious. She was burnt all over.
Oh, God.
Flames went up to the chest and burned her face.
Oh, my gosh. My God.
She was 4 days living.
Oh, my God.
You know how I am.
How did your mother ever,
My mother never was right after that. She didn't care. She was hurt. She had Margie in the carriage. It was her last baby. And she just sat. Oh, it was a horrible thing. Yeah. And anyway, we lived there for quite a while. I don't know where we moved to after that. I was married.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, we moved down. Yeah, we moved down to another. This was before Washington Elm.
Okay.
Washington Elms. When we had to get off of Windsor Street
Mm-hmm.
when they decided they were going to put a
Project.
project there, which was Washington Elms. And
So let's just go back for 1 minute though. So do you tell me what you remember about your school, about when you were about 10 and you mean when you were 10, 11, 12.
oh yeah, 10.
How
11.
you played and who you played
Well,
with.
I was in school then.
Yeah.
I went to the Roberts School, and I went to Catholic Church, the St. Mary's, received my First Communion
Uh-huh.
and confirmation, and all that before I got married.
Yeah, right.
And anyway, where's the...
Right there.
I get these tears out of my face.
And so you quit school young though, right?
I
You
went.
never did make it to high school.
I
You left school.
I went to high school and I walked out,
Oh, you did.
and I got a job.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think where I got the job. Was it the 5 and 10, or it was up Central Square anyway?
Right.
It was either 5 and 10 or across the street, Kresge's.
Okay.
I
So
don't.
what were you, about 14 then?
I was only 14.
About 14.
Yeah,
then?
when I decided to go to work.
Yeah.
That's because
You-
I had to go to continuation school.
Uh-huh.
We had one day a week that I think it was on a Thursday, that we go to school, and they taught us how to cook.
Oh, wow.
I learned how to cook. I learned how to house. Just so that's all we had,
Right.
and it was good, wonderful.
Right.
And I remember making a pie one time for my mother, and no, not for my mother, in the school.
Right.
I made a pie. I don't know whether it was apple or custard or what, but I was carrying. The teacher thought it was so great, she gave it to me to take home.
Oh, wow.
So all the way home, the kids were, "Can I have a bite?" And they're laughing and going around me and everything. You should have seen that pie when I brought it home to my mother. Oh,
So
geez.
what, do you feel you were a happy kid? Your life was happy?
I was the happiest friggin' kid in the world.
Yeah.
Nobody was as happy as me. Look
Yeah.
at all the pals I had. I had Blondie. That was from Broadway.
Right, right.
That my Pine Street gang
Uh-huh.
was Alice Hurley, Dolly Clemens, Mary, Alice Hurley, Dolly Clemens, Mary. What's her last name? This Irish guys.
Not Van Stride.
Huh?
Not Van.
No, the Van Strives were there too on
Uh-huh.
Harvard Street.
Okay.
But they were all boys,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and I knew them, but that was
Right.
it. And what Pine Street kids is what I'm trying to think of. And then there was the girl from the Harvard Street, the big block of red,
Yeah.
right at the corner house. She lived
Harvard
there,
and what?
and in Harvard and Pine.
Okay, I know exactly what you
And
mean.
in her yard, we used to play with her. Eleanor, her name was, and she was a little, Swedish girl.
Oh.
And her parents couldn't speak English
Oh.
very well.
Uh-huh.
They spoke that Swedish.
Yeah.
So her grandfather was home all the time, and she used to ask me to come up to her house,
Uh-huh.
and I used to go up because she used to give me. Well, she was an only child in that household,
Right.
the only girl I mean.
Yeah.
And she used to give me stuff, and we'd be out on the porch, and we had cats and dogs, and my dog used to come with me.
Oh. Wow.
And I had girls, and girls, we had chums all the way.
Right. So when you said she gave you stuff, you mean like food?
Oh yeah,
So
like her mother
yeah.
would be making. Oh, the mothers would all cook. They'd be out on the stairs at night. We used to sit after supper, and we used to sit out on the stairs, all the mothers.
Yeah.
And we were friends.
kids
And
would all play.
when your grandmother moved into Pine Street, she was one of us.
Nana.
Nana.
Yeah.
And Papu, but he was always going running to his
Greek club.
Greek club. But
Yeah. So she would, Eleanor would
Eleanor
bring you some Swedish food.
She was they were real Swedish, and they spoke Swedish and everything.
Oh, wow.
They were learning American, you know.
Yeah, right.
So we used to sit out in there, and she was one of my friends. And you know who else was one of my friends?
Oh.
This famous Slater from where they got now? Like we got this new place now.
Canada?
Not Canada.
Alaska?
Alaska.
Oh.
I never knew it.
Oh.
That's where she wound up, Eleanor.
Oh.
Or no, and this girl, not Eleanor, but this other girl, she was always very standoffish and quiet. She went. Her family moved to Alaska.
Oh my gosh! That's when it was.
What do they call it? The race every year.
Oh, Iditarod.
Iditarod.
Yeah, that's when it was a real wilderness.
I'm telling you, she was in that, and her name, Eleanor. What the hell was her last name? Oh, I know it. Well, that's why I know.
Yeah,
she did it. I asked everybody, and they said, "Oh, that was them. That's that family."
Yeah, that's something.
So that was something.
No kidding.
And Mary and.
So how old were you then? Were you like still about 14 then?
Oh, I was younger.
Younger than that then?
Yeah. Because when I was 14, I had to work.
Yeah, you went to work.
I went to work and worked in the. I got a picture of me.
Where were you at Fanny?
I worked in every one in the whole city. I loved the first one. That was where I started.
Yeah.
And that was right across from.
Because I remember that picture of you and all the girls on the bumper of that car and your little white hats
right.
On your break and your little white aprons.
Yeah, and we used to have to stand up all day, Trudy.
Oh, yeah.
And the machine would go with chocolate
on a conveyor.
And we'd have to pick up things and you know.
Pick all your chocolates. So you were a packer?
I was a packer. I was one of the best they had.
Wow.
And at 16, I don't know whether I was 16 or 17 when I I was 19 when I got married.
Yeah.
So I must have worked all them years up to 19.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, yeah.
And I was a real good fancy packer.
Yeah.
I worked for everyone I wanted, because I'd quit and take a rest, and then I'd go back on the season, like probably Easter or, whatever.
Right, yeah.
And
so yeah, I understand what you mean, like seasonal.
Seasonal.
When when I worked at Woolworths,
and
I worked
they
at
always
Easter
hired
time.
me. I always took me back because I was a good packer.
Yeah, right.
I loved it.
Right.
And the girls used to be sitting. Did you ever see them dip the candy?
Yeah, well, only on television I've seen it, like Lucy.
You know how they dip them beautiful candies? They're sitting in chairs. 1, 2, 3, 4 girls. 1, 2, 3, 4 girls. They got this big thing here filled with chocolate.
Oh.
Soft chocolate.
Uh-huh.
And they have their dry candies, whatever candies they have. They nuggets or plain round ones, whatever. And they dip it in and do this put it right on that thing.
Wow.
That's how they did.
So they were truly handmade.
Handmade.
They were truly handmade. Yeah.
Oh, and
so you could put your own little swirl on the top,
that's right.
Get real fancy and wow.
And we sent candy as far as Alaska.
Yeah.
Sent, they ordered candies from us.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. Because
so that was the big industry in the East, candy making. Because I remember one of my first jobs, a part-time job, and I think I was like 14 too. Margie got it for me at Johnson's Candy.
Yeah, it was right on.
Yeah, right on. And we made those sugar candies, the like gummy kind of things. Yeah. And I remember the little watermelons. Yeah. And I only worked there for maybe a month or two.
Yeah, they had candy right in where Windsor and Cambridge
and Mass Ave, Main Street. Yeah, they had Welch's and Well, Margie was in the candy industry for years.
Yeah,
Margie, she worked for years.
She was oh God, I'm telling you.
So
I was 14 and I worked till I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
And I got married, and I used to work then at Tony.
So what kind of things would you do like between the time you worked? Say you were 15 and 19. What did you do? Did you go out with your girlfriends? Did you guys go dancing? You didn't get married till you were 19.
19,
right?
That's what I'm saying.
So when you were 15, 16, 17,
oh, yeah, right.
Were you just had dad as a boyfriend and you didn't go places?
I don't know when we got together or how old I was. Probably 17.
Oh, I thought you were younger than that.
No, we got married when I was 19.
Well, you had Herbie when you were 19.
That's right.
So you got married like when you were 18. And then, did you meet Brownie around the same time you met Dad?
No, I met Brownie before.
Before you guys were chums.
Yeah, a long time before, because that's the time. That's the time it was Blondie, Gert, Liz, Mac, and Bessie, her sister. She was a part-time gangster. And we used to go. All we did.
And Brownie, so that's 7.
7. Oh, didn't I count Brownie?
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were all that gang, and we used to hang from Broadway, right on the corner of Broadway and Columbia. That's how I met them.
Okay.
And because it wasn't school or anything. And we got together, and all that. But we used to have more fun. Lizzie lived right on the corner of Broadway and Cambridge and Harvard. Not Broadway and Harvard, Broadway and Columbia. Everything was set right there from Broadway and Columbia to Blondie's house.
Okay.
Bessie played the piano, Blondie's twin. Oh. And you know how Blondie looked?
Yeah.
Well, Bessie was her complete opposite.
You're kidding.
Complete. She was a foot taller than Blondie, with black hair, and the most beautiful brown eyes you've ever.
Blondie was a bleach blonde, so she probably had black hair too.
No, she didn't. No, she was a dirty blonde.
Yeah, but she always bleached. I can remember Blondie. Twins. I remember that root, those roots, always dark.
And Blondie was a twin. And you know something? She had the most darling mother in the world.
Really?
Her mother was sweetheart. They had a piano in the front, right out in the street. And you know who lived right across the street?
Oh,
Bama.
Oh, his mother and father?
His mother and father.
So this was right on on Broadway?
No, not on Broadway, on the street.
Columbia? Huh? Columbia?
One after Columbia.
Okay, because they lived on, what was the name of that street? I can't remember.
I know it out of my head.
Where Bama lived.
Yeah.
Oh, so his mother and father lived right across the street.
Right across the street. I didn't know them there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but they were very, very nice.
Yeah.
Always nice. And Bama, he went out with the gang. He was good in with all the gang from the park. Everybody got in their friends in the park.
You don't mean Bama, you mean his father.
No, I'm talking about Bama.
With Herbie in them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with Herbie and all his
That's all.
friends. Yeah,
Because,
yeah. Tremont Street. That's where they lived. Yeah,
of
Tremont.
course.
Yeah.
And we yeah.
So Bessie would play the piano and.
Oh, Bessie would play the piano every night, and we'd get her to play it. She didn't want to. She used to look down on it.
Oh,
Blondie's twin.
Yeah. How funny.
And Blondie was the little son of a gun, I'm telling you.
I remember
bless
Blondie very well. I mean, she was a pistol. She was like, tell it like it is with that raspy voice.
Yeah, but she was good.
Yeah, I thought
She was a good girl.
Yeah.
They all were good, my chums.
Yeah.
I thought they were tough. You know, Mac used to go around like this, the butt hanging out of her. I never smoked. My grandmother was going to kill me.
Oh.
Ah, jeez, I'm telling you. So that was that. Bessie used to play the piano, and we'd get all outside on the porch or on the sidewalk.
Right.
We harmonized, sing.
Oh.
All that singing, and Bessie would play,
Wow.
and we'd be singing, we'd be dancing.
I think that's something they must have.
Everybody loved it.
I know, because I think that must be something they did back east, because I remember Buster and Obie O'Brien and
all
Joe
singing, all sitting down.
all singing and harmonizing. I can remember it coming through my window.
Exactly.
And I remember Herbie and Joe Lawless and Kick and
you know
all
what spoils all those guys is the television.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I remember them all harmonizing and singing, and
right in the
projects, right in the Elms. I can remember it so well. The summer nights. Yeah. Oh my gosh! They could have been. They could have been famous. Truly, they sang so good.
The way they harmonized.
But it's funny because I don't remember girls. I remember all the guys.
Mm.
But you girls did it all.
No, we didn't sing in there. We sang on Tremont Street.
Well, that's what I mean. But it was at the park at St. Mary's Park.
St. Mary's Park.
Yeah, yeah.
We'd get over there and have so much fun.
Oh my gosh, I can remember going there too.
Mm.
Oh, excuse me. I can remember going there too when I was about 13 or 14, hanging out at St. Mary's Park.
Who, me?
No, me.
You.
I can remember, yeah. That's when I used to.
Was wonderful.
Oh my gosh. That's when I used to go down Broadway, and I'd go by Grandma's house. She'd be sitting in the window. Grandma August, yeah. She'd be sitting in the window, and she'd wave to me, and I'd wave to her, you know. Yeah. So those are...
I had a wonderful childhood.
Yeah, that's great. That is really good. And did you always love to sing? Because I know, boy.
Oh, I love to sing.
You sing.
Huh?
I'm telling you, you could sing. Boy, I remember you singing all through my life. I really do. I remember always. You weren't even aware of it, I know, because the radio was always on. And you would just be singing all the time. No matter what you were doing, you were singing.
Well, I'll tell you what it's like. It's like when I was in the 8th grade, I was the best speller in school.
Oh, yeah.
I was picked to go on the stage at University Theater.
Yeah. In the spelling bee?
On the spelling bee.
Yeah.
And this is the best speller in Robert School.
Wow.
And so I went up there and everything. I got on that stage, Trudy, and I got blind and deaf. I got blind and deaf. I couldn't see nothing and I couldn't hear nothing. And I could spell anything you give me. Today, I'm good spelling.
Yeah, right.
I can read anything.
Oh my gosh, is that funny? But you just got stage struck.
My teacher was so sorry. She was sitting in the front row. She's so sorry. All the teachers sat in the front.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. That's a funny story. So then, when you met Dad, I mean, there's a whole lot more in that.
I didn't meet Dad. We were chum. He used to give me ice cream, take me into his mother's house, and
And
feed
you had all
me.
that Greek food. Oh, no wonder you fell in love with them. Oh man, that Greek food
It
was
was wonderful, and Reedy was there too.
Good. Yeah.
And she was always, because she got Mike was going with this girl from James E. and Mike,
Right.
good pals.
Okay.
They were going with this girl from Webster Ave
Okay. Yeah.
and Hampshire way. And we didn't know, and I didn't know nothing. And all of a sudden, I knew everything. I said to James, "What are you doing? Is that your girlfriend?" Yeah. James says, "Yeah, she's my girlfriend." Huh. Fat chance she had when Marzie gonna look at him.
Oh yeah, Marzie was
Margaret, Margie. Her name was Margie.
Marzie? Oh, the other girl?
Margie and Margie. And Margie was, and James's other girl was Marzie. And Marzie, and I don't know why, that was her name, Marzie. And she used to, she absolutely took Jamesy like that.
Well, she was absolutely beautiful.
And your father had Bubby Ellen.
Oh, okay.
She's an Irish girl.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I'm saying to myself, he must love her, boy.
Wow.
You know, and I began to love my father.
Yeah.
I began to looking at him, stuff like that.
No, he was a handsome
In my heart, I never had any, but I did love Joey LaValle.
Oh, you did?
Joey LaValle was he was like my Uncle Leo's pal.
Oh.
But he was in the Navy.
Uh-huh.
There was no war then, He was in the Navy. He came home one time, and he'd come home, and he'd be in his sailor suit.
Yeah.
And he lived on Main Street.
Yeah.
Or School Street. And he'd walk every single night right by my house.
Oh, wow.
And I'd be at the gate.
I'd be
at the gate.
Yeah.
Hi, Joey. I'd be at the gate. And he's coming right up from there.
Yeah.
He knew I was there.
Yeah.
And he'd stop, and he'd have his hand in his navy.
His pea coat. Oh, wow.
And his little hat on. He was home on just a little while.
Yeah, and leave, yeah.
And he and my Uncle Leo were pals, So anyway, we talked. And I fell in love with that guy. His father and him had a little fight.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Not them.
Yeah.
That was fine.
So were they close in age?
Huh?
Were they close in age, my father and him, Joe?
Joey was older.
Oh.
Like Uncle Leo.
Yeah. So they had a fist fight, though?
And, did they ever? Wait till I tell you.
Wow.
I was, this was long after I was married to you. Not married, we were going together. I decided I couldn't help your father.
Yeah.
I mean, he just took me like I fell in love with him.
Yeah, right.
But I did like Joey very much.
Yeah.
It was like a tosser.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, one time, just months and months later, Mike and I had a fight. And I was home every night.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for him to come or call. We didn't have a phone. I mean, just get words. And
right.
That he was coming. But he never did.
Uh-huh.
See?
Oh.
And I never said anything. My mother would have slapped me and said, "Go, get in there, get the hell in there."
Yeah.
And so what happened was I started going down Leo's. He lived on Mass Avenue in that little place where you walk through to Columbia Street. You know the houses there? Well, that's the house he lived on, the first floor.
Oh.
So this night I was down there with Joey came. Joey and him were still pals.
Yeah.
This is before the war. And so Joey and him were still pals, and we just Uncle Leo and Dot and me and Joey would play cards. She had Catherine,
Right.
little baby, and everything was nice. I started to over your father,
Yeah.
and so I don't know how he found out, but knock on the door one night when we were there, it was him, and he says, "Can I see Gert?" And Leo says, "Sure, come on in." How'd you know she was here? And he says, "Somebody told him. James or somebody told him that I was there." So we come in and he says to me, "Are you ready?" I don't know what he said to me, much just to say, "Come on, you're coming with me."
Yeah.
And I says, "Well, come on, sit down, Mike," like that.
Yeah.
And he said, "No, no, no." He says, "I'm going. I want you to come with me." I says, "No, I'll see you later." Well, he started to make to argue with me.
Right.
Raising his voice and like that. So Leo says to him, "Come on, don't we don't want no fights here."
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah blah. And so Mike got worse.
Yeah.
His temper, he had an awful temper, and he started to grab me, pull me up the door. With that, Leo grabbed him, and Joey punched him. Oh, jeez. I don't know where he punched him.
Probably in the face.
Mike wouldn't leave go of me.
Yeah. Right.
So what I did was I went out with him. I left with him.
Right.
And that's when we made up. And he was crying. I was crying, and he was crying.
Oh.
It was a real,
lovers makeup.
When he saw somebody else wanted me, like Joey, he just said to himself, "The hell with him." He left the girl he was fooling around with.
Yeah.
Bubby.
Yeah.
That's what we called her. Bubby Allen.
Bubby Allen,
And that was it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he remembered it.
Probably.
I didn't. I just told him. I says, "Mike, I'm here playing cards. There's nothing. I didn't even have. Joey didn't even take me home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wasn't. So anyway, that's what happened.
So then you got married a short while after that?
I guess so. Yeah, it was right after that.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I got married from the Pine Street house. We had moved to that's Jesse's grandfather. Isn't this funny?
I know. Isn't that funny?
The same house. It was the big 3-decker or 4-decker. 3-decker.
Yeah.
And it was right facing the
yard.
Yard
where you played.
Yeah.
Well, no, you were older then. You didn't play in that yard.
No, we didn't play in that yard.
Yeah. You were in the back.
That was the Clemens house.
Okay.
And they had a great big yard. Nobody got in there.
Yeah.
Mary lived across the street.
This was all on Pine Street.
And on Pine Street. So that's the house I got married from. With your father.
Wow.
And things happened. I wonder why your grandmother and Reedy got mad at me. They never forgave me for that, I think.
For what? That fight?
For the fight.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, I don't know.
I did. That's just exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
Nobody had any. It was mad at anybody else.
Yeah.
Only me and Mike.
I don't think they would have been happy with anybody that they didn't pick.
That they didn't pick.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing of it.
Yeah.
Because your grandfather too wanted him to marry a Greek girl.
Yeah, that's what they were all about. The Greeks all.
That's right.
And it's so funny because there's only one that married a Greek.
No. Who?
Yeah, only one of the side of that.
Johnny.
No, was
Stavroula.
Who did? I mean, none of the grandchildren, Papu and Nana, nobody married a Greek.
Nobody did.
Georgia married an Irishman. Cynthia married an Irishman. Stelio didn't get married, and all Charlie's kids married non-Greeks.
Yeah.
All, Johnny's kids, George and them.
That's right.
All Reni's kids married. None of them married Greeks. None of them.
Yeah.
And Sini's kids, Nitsa married Buzzy, Nikki married
That's how it
Pat.
was. It's
But
like
yet they all wanted them to marry Greeks. I remember Johnny and
that's
Uncle
probably
Johnny.
why they wouldn't marry. They didn't
Maybe.
want. It was modern times.
Yeah,
They're not going to tell me what to do.
yeah, it's so funny. That's so true. I can remember Uncle Johnny, and we'd go over there to see him, and he would say that to me all the time. I was so young, and I would go over there with Dad, and he would tell me, "You marry a nice Greek boy." He used to tell me all the time,
Yeah,
And
man.
nobody, Georgia married a real Irishman.
Gee, I'm sure there's a lot of nice Greek fellows.
Yeah,
Greek fellows, yeah.
yeah, that's so funny, because I know that at her wedding, she married an Irishman, the biggest fight ever between the Irish and the Greeks
Yeah.
at George's wedding.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe that's why they wanted to see that.
yeah, really. So that's all. That's really. So you got married, and it's too bad though that
Oh, he sure. When he got me married, it seems that he just said, "Well, I made it. I got her." And
Yeah,
that's how I felt, because he was out constantly.
yeah,
He worked.
yeah.
And my mother loved him. That
Everybody loved him. He was.
I know him. And my
charismatic,
James and him
handsome
were
guy.
pals.
Yeah,
And pals. I'll never forget an Easter. And on Easter Sunday, when we were growing up, both of them got all dressed up, Jamesy and him.
Yeah.
And whatever they did, I don't know, but they looked wonderful.
yeah.
We were all admiring them, how they looked, So sometime during the night, the evening, they came along. This was in April. They came along. They were black from the foot to their toes. They must have got in a fight somewhere. Jamesy and
Oh
him
my gosh.
got in a fight with somebody. And they came home, and they're sitting on the stairs right across from where the Nana lived here,
Mm,
and we did. Me and Mike lived over here.
right.
So we're sitting on the stairs. Well, I didn't live there then. We didn't live. That was afterwards. We lived on the, but that's where they were sitting. Black and blue,
Oh my god.
black eyes, and their clothes were.
Oh my gosh.
And I to this day, I don't know where they had the fight or anything, but they fought and they helped.
How funny.
There was only two to a bunch of.
Yeah.
I think it was the Somerville gang.
Oh really?
The Somerville gang come down, must have got them, because they were always fighting.
Yeah.
The
right.
guys from Somerville
Oh,
and them, and
Yeah.
the guys from Somerville would always run like a bastard all the whole way. They parked their car down the end on the other street, and they'd run like a. When James and Mike coming around the corner, that meant there was going to be beat up.
wow. That's
Oh, I'm telling you, that was a very good time.
great.
So
So.
another times we used to go to Revere,
Uh-huh.
and we'd gang up, and somebody would get a car,
Yeah.
and we'd go to Revere and roller skate. Honest to God, I could roller skate all around that rink in Revere.
Wow.
And one night I was skating, and I couldn't stop, and I turned right into the men's toilet. Oh, I was so embarrassed. I almost
Oh.
the guys are all standing with that in the toilet, doing their, running the guys. The
Yeah.
place was always mobbed.
Oh my god.
And I was at the end of the thing,
Oh, it was like a whip.
the whip.
Oh my god. And that. Oh, you went
you don't know
flying.
what fun I had, I'm telling you.
Oh, that is fun. That is fun. Too bad they don't have roller rinks around
I
anymore.
know things like
Those
that.
that was such
Us
wonderful
kids had
entertainment.
we had to go to try the lightning. You know, that was the big
Roller coaster?
roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
That was the biggest roller
Revere.
coaster them days.
Yeah, right.
The lightning, they call it. And
Right.
we used to ride that every time.
At Revere Beach.
Yeah, we do that every day before we go down and have our fun skate and all around Revere
All summer.
all
Wow.
summer.
So what kind of things did you do in winter?
Huh?
What kind of things did you do in the
Just
winter?
go in Blondie's house and play.
Yeah, you just
Bessie
kinda
play the piano, we'd be singing.
Wow.
Yeah. There's always some place to go.
That was a wonderful time.
We had fun.
Yeah, that was a wonderful time.
We loved each other.
So-
they get hurt was when I had my baby. Lizzie had her baby.
Yeah,
I told you what happened.
yeah, to Lizzie.
She took the baby and
What is-
put the baby in the mother's lap, and then she went in the bathroom. She didn't come out. Finally broke the door down.
Wow.
She was hanging.
Wow.
That was when I had my baby.
Yeah. Wow.
And they shouldn't have told me
Yeah, right.
because I went hysterical.
Yeah.
You know.
So, were you married when your brothers all went into the service?
Oh yeah,
You were married then.
I was married.
They all went into the
Yeah,
Navy and the Marines.
all of them.
Yeah, that
And my mother used to sit by the window, right on Windsor Street.
was all before the Depression, though, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was.
Do you remember the
first?
Depression?
They were.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Depression? Do you remember?
Oh, of course I do.
But
We couldn't get anything. Nothing.
Yeah.
We managed to get through.
But even then, you really were happy, huh?
Huh?
Even then, you were happy.
I was happy no matter what.
Isn't that something?
We
Yeah.
were all happy.
Yeah.
All.
Hi, how are you? Okay, good.
They were trying to.
Everybody was, without money and.
Without money, what the hell could we do? We
Yeah.
couldn't do nothing.
Right. Wow, that was some time.
And we'd find something to do. We could always get a car.
Yeah.
From somebody's, one of the boyfriends or whatever, and we'd have a car.
Wow.
We didn't do it always, just once in a while.
Yeah.
And I went with Bessie one day to Bessie, the one who played the piano,
Yeah.
Blondie's twin, and I went to it was during the war. They were stationed. The soldiers were stationed somewhere in where I am now with Ellen.
Oh, in New Hampshire?
New Hampshire. No, not New Hampshire.
Oh, like Danvers or. I think Danvers.
Not Danvers either, but it was up. It was in
Massachusetts?
No.
Oh, New Hampshire?
New Hampshire,
Oh, okay.
and it's very popular. They had soldiers
Oh.
all stationed there
Uh-huh.
for one reason or another. I don't know. So Bessie and I decided we'd go up and see them.
Mm-hmm.
One person who was
Right.
there, I forget who the hell it was now. And my mother, she was mad. And
Was she mad because you went there because you got in a car?
everything. She was.
Yeah.
She didn't think I should do that.
Yeah.
But Bessie was very careful. Bessie
Yeah.
wasn't like a Blondie. They were all good.
Right,
No matter
right.
where we did. But no matter what we did, we were all good kids. We
Yeah.
didn't, nobody got hurt. And we were careful about when we bum a ride.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
One person would get out and bum a ride.
And then 100 would get in the car.
And that was the funny part.
Yeah.
I wouldn't talk all the time we were driving because the guy was so friggin' mad. I thought he was getting, getting one girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got 8.
We never. That was a thing we made amongst ourselves. Don't do it alone.
Yeah, that was a smart rule. That was a smart rule.
So that day we went to see the soldiers. We went in and we walked around and met guys we knew and everything.
Yeah.
Up there.
Oh.
And it was a time to go. They rang a bell. We had to all go.
Oh.
So Bessie and I didn't have nothing, only the car. And we didn't have no money for eats or anything. So we're walking along the street towards the car, and all of a sudden I'm going pushing my feet like this, and I looked down, and there was a friggin' $5. I didn't know it. I picked up this piece of paper, $5 bill.
Oh, wow.
He says, "Give me." I says, "Thank you. This is mine." But we ate anyway.
I know. They were good on $5.
She had a little car, and we stopped at some place, had a couple of hot dogs.
Oh, yeah.
It was wonderful. Everything turned out good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we had a good time.
I'm gonna shut this off for now. Okay, here we are back. Today's Sunday, October 11th.
Yeah.
And you're leaving on Tuesday, October 13th. And we're all just here feeling really sad, but wanting to get all the information we could get from you about your life. What we were talking about before was, we were talking about actually your marriage to Dad, to Mike. We haven't gotten to that point yet where you met Tom.
Oh, I met Tom. I told you. Didn't I tell you?
Oh, you told me many times, but you didn't tell me on this recording.
I didn't tell you that. We were sitting, and every time I put my head up, I'd find him looking at me. And so I said, because I first looked at him and thought to myself, boy, he's a good-looking guy. I'd love to, if we could dance now, I'd dance if we were in the bar.
Uh-huh.
And next thing I know, I didn't say a word. I just turned my head over. Next thing I know, he's leaning over the back of the booth. It was empty, the next booth. Next thing I know, and I looked up and I see these blue freaking eyes looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
They were so blue and so handsome, and he had a soft hat on.
Oh, wow.
He took me home that night. Walked home.
Yeah.
Turned out he lived around the corner from Mass Avenue.
Oh.
My
name is Kelly. How are you?
It was not a room. It was just a rooming house.
He had a room in somebody's house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I found out. So I never was in there, but I don't know if it was just that. And so we made plans for a date.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time, and then after the first time we went out, I was walking up to Jimmy Beck.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, that's the wife.
Yeah, Dolores' mother.
And we had gone to the theater, Gordon's at that time.
Oh.
There was a movie playing, and we went in. So we're walking home leisurely, and I see this guy walking towards, and I said, gee, that looks like Tom.
Yeah.
He said, Jimmy Palmacino.
Oh.
You know
Yeah,
Jimmy.
yeah.
So they walked up to us, and we said, hi. And Jimmy come over to me, and he says to me, hey, talk to this guy. He wants to talk,
Wants to meet you.
Meet you, so Jimmy, so he come over, and forget it. He had shoes, brand new. He just got out of the service. I didn't know this at the time.
Yeah.
And had done his wall thing.
Right.
It's what's paying me today.
Yeah, really.
And so anyway, he walked towards me, and I looked down. Had brand new shoes on, and he had pennies.
Oh, he had loafers on?
Loafers on.
Oh, they were so cool.
And
They really were cool.
And he stand in front of me, and he wasn't thinking. And I said, "What's all that? What's that?" And he says, "Oh," he says, one of the boys put them in there for me."
Oh.
You know.
What was in there? Dimes?
Dimes.
Yeah, they used to put dimes in there.
And that was that anyway. So he says to me, what did he say to me that? He says, "How about a date? You know?"
Oh.
I says, "Yeah, but I'm going home now. I just went to the movies." He says, "You should have told me I'd have taken you," stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And he was leaning against the fire thing on the street.
Fire hydrant?
Fire hydrant. And all of a sudden he takes a leap. He goes over the fire hydrant. And I says to myself,
Oh, I never heard that.
I says to myself, boy, he's really putting on a show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he got all dressed that day so I could see him that way.
So how old were you then? You were what, about 40?
Oh, I get it. Well, let me think.
Ellen was born in Billy was born in 1950.
Really good. No,
Well, actually, he was born, Rosie was born in 1943. He was born like around 1948, Billy.
Yeah.
Ellen was born,
3,
let me see.
4, 5, 6, 7. Every 4 years they had a baby.
38, 48. Yeah, Billy was born around 1950, because I was
47.
I was 10 years old when he was born.
Yeah.
When Billy was born.
You were 10 years old.
Yeah,
then.
so it was around 1948, 1949.
Yeah,
So you were, at 1949, you were born 1914, 24, 34, 44, 30. You were about 35 years old.
I was, 35 or 36, around there.
35
when I met Tom, yeah.
Because I remember,
all he was about 2 years older than me.
I remember how pretty you were. I remember when you and Tom were dating. I remember being in your room with you when you were getting dressed to go out, and you had that shoulder-length brown hair. It was kind of brownish, but it was more brown than blonde, but blonde.
Yeah.
And I can remember you standing there putting on your lipstick and getting back and doing this with your hair,
I
puffing
had
it
all
up.
my teeth.
You were so pretty. You were so pretty. That's why he
father
fell
didn't
for you.
think so, did he?
Oh, of course he did.
What the hell did you walk away from me?
Oh, because he had problems. They were his problems, not you. They were his problems. You know what I mean? Not you. That's why he didn't want any of the other guys to have you either. Fought all of them. You know?
I had a guy in Cambridge Street buy me a coat. First he brought me up to his house on Cambridge Street, right near where they made the center.
Yeah.
Right across the street from that, up toward
Hello, how are you?
the block. And his mother lived right up there over a store.
Oh.
And he took me summer evening. He took me up there, and I met his mother. He was a good-looking guy. He was going with another girl, and they broke up.
Oh.
And he chased me after that.
Yeah.
Bought me a beautiful coat. Do you remember that coat?
No,
It was
I don't remember that
it
coat.
was a.
I remember that other guy that liked you though too,
Ooh,
and Joe, his name was, and he was a sailor,
oh.
and the only,
Joey LaValle?
no, not Joey LaValle. This guy came and he brought you back because I remember how I was fascinated by these little glasses. They were this big, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches high, and on the bottom they all had colored glass like blue,
Oh, yeah.
pink, orange. They were like little mugs, and he brought them to you in this little case. And I remember he really, really liked you. I can remember from his look. He was very handsome. He reminded me of Uncle Buster.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I just remember him. But
Well, the guy that I'm talking about, he lived there in Cave Street with his mother. He was married. They were broken up. I had nothing to do with that.
yeah, right.
I didn't even know he was
Yeah, right.
But he bought me a beautiful coat.
Wow.
And
that was pretty good in that time.
Even when I met Tom, I didn't keep it. I gave it away.
Yeah.
I don't know who I gave it to.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and once Tom came into the picture, that was it. You knew he was going to be your guy no matter what.
Because I used to dream. I used to see in my dreams a guy walking in a park, 6 feet tall, blue eyes. Honest to God, this is
and
the
that's
truth.
what he had, yeah.
That guy was in my head all the time.
Wow, imagine that.
And when Tom, I didn't know, I didn't even connect until Tom and I were really into the relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, this is the guy that I dreamt about.
But isn't it funny how fate is, though? Really, you couldn't have met a better man.
Ooh,
he was so good. You had 3 children. He took care of us like his own.
Yeah,
and Margie.
Took me up to Somerville to the office. And I'm going to tell you something. Where he worked, introduced me to everybody, and made out the papers that I alone was his recipient. Because he paid.
Yeah.
When he was married to me, I was paying.
Yeah.
Sending the page things.
Hello? Hi. Okay, so anyway, and then of course Billy and Ellen came along, which is just wonderful. That was just great.
He'd come up to the hospital. He carried his babies home. He was altogether a good husband and father.
Yeah.
We had our little scraps.
Oh, of course.
Everybody does.
That's right. But before you ever even got married, became a mother or anything, did you ever have any idea what you might have, if you did not become a mother and married, what you would want to do as a career? What would you have liked to have done?
In a career?
Yeah.
Jesus, I never thought of it.
You never thought of it?
The only thing my people were all piano players.
Oh.
We had a piano in every house.
Oh.
And they were singing and
guitars.
Yeah. Music, I think. I would have been some kind of music.
Yeah, singing.
Yeah, and taking.
Because that's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to sing some of those songs for me.
Singing and playing the piano and stuff like that. Couldn't play there, but I would have loved to learn.
Remember when you guys all used to come up the house? Well, not you, because it was your house, but Saturday night, all your brothers would come up the house and play cards and have a few beers and sing. Oh my gosh.
We always ended up singing.
Always ended up singing. I remember Uncle Leo playing with the battle caps like that, tapping away, and you'd be singing. I mean, just
I had a, when I think of it all in all, I had a wonderful, wonderful childhood.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did, huh?
I was the only girl.
Yeah.
At Vargas.
Yeah.
I was the only girl, and consequently, I was treated. My grandfather used to take my hand, be under the table.
Yeah.
Under the table, always under the table, because he was only home that little bit.
Yeah.
And then weekends. And he'd under the table, take my hand like this, my hand. And it slipped me something because he always had special. Grandpa was
always got special food.
Food, yeah.
Wow.
Grandma always gave me
How
something.
old were you then? About
I was a little girl.
7, 6,
Probably.
probably as big as summer.
I think from about 10 to 15, 17.
You must have been younger though, under the table.
Under the table, about
Well, maybe about as big as summer. A little Lexus that comes in
I
here.
think like that.
Yeah, 15. That's too big. That's as old as Jonathan.
Yeah. Oh no. No, 15,
No, you
I was hanging on the gate.
That's right. You were hanging out with the friends. Right, right. Yeah, and so you all used to sing those songs. Oh my gosh. Those things were absolutely wonderful. What were some of those songs?
Jesus.
Well, you sang that one, what was that one?
The one I sang yesterday.
Yeah. What was that one? Yeah. No, you did, Washboard Blues. How does that start?
Oh, that's an old.
Yeah, that's a
Coney Island, washboard on the bay. You see me on the boardwalk every day. Soap suds on the ground, little bubbles all around. Wubba-dubba-dub in a little tub. Everything was gay. The rings upon her fingers made the noise. We do the cha-cha on the boardwalk every day.
For the boys.
For the boys. We would rag a tune, snag a tune to the Coney Island washboard.
Easy breezes.
Coney, is that it?
Yep.
Coney Island washboard blues.
Da-da-da. Who was that other one that used to sing? She's got 10 baby fingers
and 10 baby toes waiting there for me, way down in Tennessee. I never had a baby call me Dada. How proud I'm gonna be with a bouncing on my knee. Oh, gee, I'll kiss every finger and kiss every toe. Home, sweet home, I linger, 'cause she needs me there. I know she's only got
10 days old.
No. Yeah, and she's only 10 days old. I wouldn't give her up for all the world and its gold. For I've got 10 baby fingers and 10 baby toes waiting there in Tennessee for me.
Those are good. Let's see what other ones we know. What other songs?
I love you.
Oh,
I like to be blue. Sorry I can't say the same thing for you. I can't.
Oh, that one, The Great Divide.
Oh, the great
Yeah,
divide.
do that one.
But stop.
Out in the West.
Out in the West, where we are. See, I have to be in the mood for it.
Yeah, it goes.
Out in the West, where the sun begins to go. Out of the West, where the moon goes. Out where all sorrow surrenders. Out where the blue begins. Dreams we once knew will return. I can't.
Let me get you some water. Dreams we once knew.
Will return, dear, and come true. Love that is strong must abide. West in the West, in our nest, we'll find rest. West of the great divide. The day is ending, you're smiling through. Tomorrow's sending a struggle new. The burden's heavy, but if you bear, you'll find a haven, a love to share. We'll find a haven, a love to share. Out where the sun bids a day of goodbye. Out where the fields meet the crimson
Of the sky.
Out where all sorrow surrenders. Out where the blue begins. Dreams, I sing it over and over.
Yeah.
Dreams
Dreams.
we once knew will return, dear, and come true. Love that is strong must abide. Blessed in the mist, in the west, we'll find rest. West of the great divide.
That's great.
And that is a beautiful song.
Oh, I love that song. I'm going to put this. Wait a minute, Mom. Okay, you're leaving now. It's October 13th. You're heading over to the airport to New Hampshire to all your family. Say goodbye to us.
Goodbye, Lovey. Goodbye, all my family. Trudy, Rose, Herbie, and all the kids. And goodbye. I love you all. I don't know what to say because
I love you all. That's all.
I
That's
love
good.
you all, and I hope I come back quick.
Okay.
Or you come down to see me once. We would love to come to Boston, Mass. I'll tell you. And you have to walk over the bridge to Cambridge to see me and all the rest of the family. We're all there.
Okay.
Okay, I love you all. Goodbye,
Bye, Mom.
my darlings.